What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies. I am going to do the Tim Talks Talkies 90s challenge, giving you my top 25 movies. Now, I know everyone is doing this, and I've said this a few times, but it really comes down to age and nostalgia. If you grew up in the 90s, you're probably going to have more things that were akin to you as a teenager or as an adolescent. So a lot more comedies, a lot more action. But for me, I was in my 20s. So although I still watch comedies, I still watched all the Dumb and Dumbers and the Liar Liars and all that stuff. Not really what I would call top movies. So what I did was I went through my letterbox, and for the first 20 or so, I just took whatever were my top 20 of the 90s. And then I left space for the last 5 just to massage it a little bit and get a few of my favorites in. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, my buddy Tim Talks Talkies over on his channel issued a challenge. Go ahead and name your top 25 movies. If you only have 10, name your top 10 movies and send it to him any way you can. Hi, Lando. If you want to do this, you have until March 31st. So get your list into him. You can find him on Instagram, YouTube, Pigeon Carrier, however you want to get it to him. So without further ado, I want to give you my top 25. So we're going to start off with number 25. And it's going to be Reservoir Dogs. Quentin Tarantino, early film. I think the slow motion in it is been done over and over again. So this is definitely one that made my list. And of course, I got the Lionsgate version. If you know, you know. At number 24, I'm going to have to get into this Criterion set to talk about Before Sunrise. For me, the dialogue in this is just beautiful. It's a beautiful love story. If you don't know anything about the trilogy, it's basically the same 2 characters and their love affair as it goes over time. So there are 2 follow-up movies. You have Before Sunset and Before Midnight. So from 1995, which is Before Sunrise, to 2003. And you get to follow these characters along the way. Great movies, but that first one, so good. At number 23, we have the late John Singleton's Boys in the Hood. I know this was in the beginning of independent movies, and a lot of black cinema for the 90s took place. So you had things such as Menace to Society, you had the genesis of Spike Lee and his career, Hudlin Brothers, all a bunch of different people, but this is John Singleton's first film. And I think this is what gave Ice Cube his start as an actor. Great performance all around. Cuba Gooding Jr., Lawrence Fishburne, Angela Bassett, Queen. A whole bunch of good people in here. So, number 23. Number 22, I just have to show it. You know what it is. Denzel, Malcolm X. This is a Criterion 4K version. If you have time, it's worth it to watch this one. I think this is Spike Lee at his best as a director, and very important film for everyone to watch. Everyone. At number 21, we got some Bayism. We got Bad Boys. This is from the 4K set, and I love this movie. I think this is one of the better Michael Bay movies. You get the crazy camera work, you get the action, you get everything that you want in a Michael Bay film here. And Will and Martin, just comedic gold. Let's see. Just to let you know, some of these I'm not going to have the actual film for it. I'm not going to have the physical media for it because I'm still unpacking. I just grabbed what I can. So if I came across the DVD before the Blu-ray or before the 4K, that's what I'm breaking out. So with that in mind, we have number 20, and I just saw this the other day in the theaters. We have Titanic. James Cameron did his research, got everything right about the ship. This is Leo and Kate at the beginning of their careers. great love story, long movie. But the thing is, if you stick with it, you get to the technical excellence that comes with the sinking of the Titanic. So great movie, and it holds up. I have a child. It holds up. 19, I have to get some horror in there. And when I think of horror movies, you gotta go with Misery. Stephen King adaptation. You got the late James Caan. You have Kathy Bates in an Oscar-winning performance. And this is just a great movie. I love this. I love what Rob Reiner did as a director with this movie. Could watch it again and again. First one I'm missing, and I'm gonna put it up right there. That is Schindler's List. Steven Spielberg. Hard movie to watch, but once again, an important movie to watch. Hit me in the feels big time the first time I saw it, and it stayed with me. You realize the gravity of the Holocaust when you watch that movie, and yeah, just an excellent movie. Another person who did his research as far as the events that took place, the stories that he heard from survivors, and incorporating it into the film. Shot beautifully, great story all around. Yeah, that's a good one. Another one, switching that out, is Fargo. I love the Coen brothers. I love what they did with this film. Quotable as all get out. Frances McDormand is excellent in this movie. That's another one. Where's the 4K? Hello? Waiting for the 4K, just like Titanic. But when it comes out, it's going to be a day one purchase for sure. Speaking Spielberg, at number 16, we have Saving Private Ryan. All I have to say is opening beach scene. Everybody knows what I'm talking about if you've seen the movie. There's a few movies that just get you from the beginning and don't let you go. This is definitely one of them, and it just stays with you. And it's a great film, greatly shot, great sound. If you don't have the 4K and you have the means, definitely pick up the 4K. It sounds great. And another one that I could watch at any time. A lot of people got their starts or early appearances in their career in this movie. So Saving Private Ryan, that's a good one. Shout out to everyone who this is their favorite franchise. At number 15, we have the first installment of Scream. I almost said Stab. But this is actually becoming one of my favorite horror franchises just for the meta of the movies. It's getting a little crazy. If you've seen Scream 6, you know what I mean. But this is where it all started. Wes Craven goodness. I still hold Nightmare on Elm Street above as far as favorite Wes Craven movie, but this one can't be beat. Shout out to Drew Barrymore. Best performance in the movie. Number 14. Another one I can't find, but I know I have the DVD and the Blu-ray, not the 4K though. Forrest Gump. What can I say about this? This is one of the best movies in the 90s for sure. Tom Hanks, all the different scenarios, the special effects for the time it was. Today we have things like deep fake that you could pull up on your phone, but back then we didn't have that. But they made deep fakes in the 90s for this movie, and it shows, and it was awesome, and it was an excellent story. And yeah, can't say too much about Forrest Gump, so I won't say any more. Coming into my second pile here. At number 14, we have Fight Club. This is actually one of my favorite packagings of this movie, taking it back to the DVD days. Great performances by both Brad Pitt and Edward Norton, and early appearance by Jared Leto. He had blonde hair then, and you gotta look quick because his face gets ugly really quickly. So yeah, this is one that you definitely want to check out if you've never seen it before. It really embodied the 90s and 90s action movies. So Fight Club at number 14. At number 12, we have Michael Mann's Heat. We all remember that Godfather Part 2 was known for having both Robert De Niro and Al Pacino in it, but the big thing is they were never on screen together. So that's what Heat gave us, and it was a big deal at the time that they were actually going to be on screen together. And if you've seen this movie, you know that the diner scene was everything in the movie, as well as the bank shootout scene. If you bought this day one, Steelbook, whatever, 4K, and you still haven't watched it, give yourself a couple hours, go and watch it. As I always say, go watch a movie, but definitely go watch Heat. It's a great one. And if you don't have it, or you don't have 4K, and you're watching this week, run to Best Buy. It's only $4 for the Blu-ray. Definitely worth it. At number 11, and this is going to be an odd choice for some people, especially if you've never seen it, but I have The Iron Giant. This is going back to my DVD days, and when I first watched it, I was blown away by the simplicity of the animation. The storytelling was excellent. Everything about the movie impressed me, and I kept going back to it over and over again. It's just a great movie, and this transfer on the Blu-ray looks awesome. This is one I'd love to get on 4K one day. Getting into the top 10, my top 10 movies of the 1990s. So at number 10, we're gonna go with Toy Story 2. Of course, everyone knows Toy Story came along, Pixar, great movie, great innovation in animating, especially for feature films. But there was something special to me about Toy Story 2, how it continued the story. It was kind of like, hey, we got some money, and they made a better sequel. Talking about sequels, if you want to watch a live stream this week on sequels that were better than the originals, head over to Mega Mike's, and he's gonna have a live stream talking about sequels that were better than the original movies. And this one hopefully will make an appearance. I'll be there, so hopefully it'll be on my list. At number 9, it should have been at number 7 because 7. David Fincher movie, Brad Pitt once again, Morgan Freeman. We have Gwyneth Paltrow also in it, Kevin Spacey. This is probably one of the best psychological thrillers I've ever seen in my life. Talking about movies that stay with you, this stays with you. It's so good. And by the end, you will know what's in the box. Number 8, and this could have easily been number 1 if you want to talk about cultural impact. We're going Keanu right now. Once again, Lawrence Fishburne. We're talking about The Matrix. This is what we mean when we talk about a revolutionary movie. Everything from the science fiction to the martial arts to the religious aspects and the tones of it. Everything about this movie is innovative, the way it combined all these different genres and tropes and everything. It spawned one too many sequels, I'll admit that. None of them can touch the original. If you only get one, get the original. You can leave the rest behind, but The Matrix. Shout out to Wachowskis. Let's see, number 7. Back to the animation for this one. This is my favorite Disney movie, and we're talking The Lion King. Yes, I know it's basically a Shakespeare story, but to me, this is Disney at its best as far as feature films. James Earl Jones, his voice, just everything, the music by Elton John. Everything in this movie is just excellent to me. So another one that I could throw in at any time. I don't need the kids around. I think I used the kids when they were younger just to watch this over and over, but they're older. I don't need them excuse anymore. The Lion King. At number 6, should be number 1 at IMDb. It was for the longest time, but we're talking Shawshank Redemption. Another Stephen King adaptation here, and what is there to say about this movie? We have Tim Robbins and we have Morgan Freeman. Their friendship, their relationship that builds over the movie is just spectacular. It's outstanding. This is a great movie. There's not much else to say about it. It's just great. That's why it was number one on IMDb for all those years. But number 5, and I'm sure this is going to be high in the final count for Tim's challenge. Join us if you want to on April 8th, where you're going to see the final results of everyone's list compiled together. But at least top 5, you got to go with Terminator 2 Judgment Day. This is probably the movie I have the most copies of, a couple of Blu-rays, a couple of 4Ks. But this version here is probably the one physical media that has cut me the most, because this is all metal, but I love it. It's a great slipcase and definitely one I'll never get rid of. But what is there to say about T2? Arnold Schwarzenegger at his best, James Cameron at his best, sci-fi, action, come with me if you want to live. Whatever you want to say about this movie, it's awesome. I love this movie. Shout out to Durant Cinema. I see you. Number 4. Tim Talks Talkies number 1. Welcome to Jurassic Park. Another Spielberg movie. I was surprised by how many Spielberg movies I put in my top 25. People are quick to talk about the 70s, 80s, even his 2000s. But I think he ruled the 90s as far as having the best movies out there. And to me, this was his personal best. Everything about Jurassic Park is excellent. Great action, great performances. The dinosaurs look better than some CGI movies today. And the use of practical effects is just probably one of the last great examples of practical effects, especially for the 90s. But yeah. Another one that could be easily number 1. But for me, it's number 4. At number 3. So if any of you watched any of my conversation episodes, you know that at the end I have this thing called the 5 takes. And my first question is, name the film that got you into loving the movies. And this is my number 1 answer. It's on the shirt. We have Goodfellas. Surprised it's not my number 1. It's a great movie. I'm in the Goodfellas over Casino camp. I know a lot of people are in the other camp, but this is the best mob movie ever made to me. The thing about this movie that made me start to love movie making and, introduced me to being what some might call a cinephile or whatever, was the scene walking into the Copacabana. It took me a moment to realize that they never cut the shot. It was all one take. And that just turned something on in me and just inspired me to love movies on a different level instead of just, grab my popcorn and go into a movie theater and just watching a movie. Now I get into movies and I want to know who directed it and who shot it and, who wrote it, and want to talk about the acting performances and everything. And it's all because of this movie. I mean, once again, you got Robert De Niro, you got Joe Pesci, and of course you have the late Ray Liotta in the starring role. And a bunch of whole other people, some of which went on to be in The Sopranos, such as Lorraine Bracco. So much greatness about this movie. And also introduced me to loving a certain Martin Scorsese. So, Goodfellas, number 3. At number 2, we have Quentin's best script writing in Pulp Fiction. This is a movie that really introduced me to non-linear storytelling, because the story bounces all around. And usually when you do that, there is a point at which you feel confused. And the fact that I wasn't, and I just wanted more as soon as it ended, I wanted to rewatch a movie immediately. that stands to talk about the greatness of Pulp Fiction. So, yeah, one of Quentin's best. But so is Jackie Brown. Don't sleep on Jackie Brown. Before I get to my number one, I want to show off some honorable mentions. Any of these movies listed here can be considered tops for the decade. All great movies. Why aren't they in my 25? Because 25. And finally, if you haven't guessed my number one, it's basically one of my favorite movies of all time, my favorite psychological thriller of all time. We're talking 1991's Silence of the Lambs. This got me through my senior year of college. I was telling someone the story the other day. I basically would put on this video and go to sleep. This was my nightlight. Kind of disturbing, yes, but there was just something about this movie. We're talking excellent performances by Sir Anthony Hopkins and Jodie Foster. We're talking a great story. We're talking a great villain. And I don't know, it's one of the movies that rivaled the amount of times I went to see it in the theater. I think Untouchable still holds the record. I went to see that 7 times, but I think I saw this like 4 or 5 times in the theaters as well. So something about this movie, Jonathan Demme did a great job with this movie. It's one that I return to probably a little too much. And like I said, this was my nightlight as I went to sleep almost every night in my senior year of college. So 1991's The Silence of the Lambs is my number one in my top 25 movies of the 1990s. So that's it. If you'd like to do a list, feel free to leave it in the comments or submit it directly to Tim Talks Talkies yourself. The more lists we get, the better compiled it would be. And I think it will be great for the community just to have something to share and say, hey, I participated in this. So as I said, you have until March 31st to get in your list and join us on April 8th. I'm going to be a part of an awesome group of people along with Tim, and we're going to be talking about the compiled list and get a consensus of what the top 25 movies of the 1990s are for us as a community. So it's going to be great. Hopefully you enjoy this. If you did, go ahead and leave a like, leave comments. Like I said, you can leave your list here if you want to. Top 25, top 10, top 5, whatever you want to do. It's fine. But like I always say, go watch a movie. I'll catch you next time.